I had the pleasure of meeting Cosentino, the great illusionist, at the Royal Children's Hospital Appeal.
Yes, you did.
Last Easter, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and I was back here in the studio, and I didn't, of course, see what was going on out there, but it's one of those occasions where you just sounded so delighted and amazed and enthralled by what was going on around you.
Yeah.
I wished I was there.
But I love magic, and I love the speed and the lightning sharp action of his magic.
Yes, the closest you came was making an entire audience disappear.
Well, that's right. He's a world-renowned award-winning grand illusionist and continues to ignite imaginations and enthrall audiences. And there's a big series of shows coming on around Australia with Cosentino. Good evening, Cosentino.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's good. How did you get interested in magic? Take us right back to those early days.
Okay, well, I was a 12-year-old boy, very shy and introverted. A lot of people say, oh, well, that doesn't seem like that's now, but I was very introverted and shy. And magic, gave me a skill that was very unique that nobody else had, but more importantly, it opened me up. It helped build up my self-esteem and my confidence, because as a kid, I was a very bad reader, bad speller, and my mum would read me these magic books. So I overcame this huge stumbling block, but in the process, gained this magic skill. So, for example, instead of going up to someone and talking to them, I would perform a trick, and then they would talk to me. It was an icebreaker.
Yeah.
I have grandchildren, and the greatest thrill is when I put masks on and dress up and creep around as these figures, strange figures who've just arrived at the house, and they love it. And as they get older, they're going to say, "Oh, take the thing off." But until they do, they love anything like that. And magic is the same.
100%. When I perform for my nephews and nieces, when I make a coin disappear, it happens because it's magic. When I show you, it happens because it's a trick, it's an illusion, and it's that pure, that innocence that is so beautiful. It's wonderful.
I just love it, and you see it in their faces, as you say. An adult will say, "Oh, how did he do that?" The kid says, "That was magic."
Exactly, it's the innocence.
I love it.
My first interaction with a magician was our next-door neighbour. I didn't realise he was one, and he came over to a party. We had a birthday party at my house, and he came over and he put some water in a cup and then threw it at us, and it was confetti. And to this day, I remember the amazement of how he managed to do it.
Wonderful.
That shock when I was expecting this glass of water in my face.
And that feeling you have when you witness something that's seemingly a miracle is just, it sticks with you still. It's same as me. It's an unbelievable art form and craft to be able to transcend all those things and have that impact still on you.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great art.
Now, Cosentino, can I ask, why is it that I've never seen a smiling illusionist and a smiling magician? It's always done with that. You've got to look mysterious.
I smile in my show. I do smile every now and then. It's my stage show and my TV shows. They there's elements of happiness. But look, magic's a dramatic art. You've got to understand that magicians are controlling the elements. You're controlling nature. You're controlling the mind of people. So that's a mysterious and dramatic thing. If it's done, to up-tempo music, it kind of loses its effect. It's got to be mysterious. It's like the ancient shamans around the fire, conjuring up, the spirits or something like that. So that's why I think that it's dramatic.
You know that Houdini made a very big impact on Melbourne when he was here.
Yes, he came in 1910 and he jumped off the Queen's Bridge into the Yarra. I paid homage to him back in 2010 and did my own version of his escape. But he also was the first person in Australia to fly a plane and take his rest.
Yes, you're right. Now, are you the magician? I keep talking to people, family from Sydney, who say, "Oh, have you seen the bloke who can make a building move or a building?" Is that you?
No, that's not me. That would have been... Look, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. That's back in the 70s, though. So it's... They're probably referencing... The fact that they're talking about me in the same company is good things, because David Copperfield's... he's a living legend.
Yes, and so are you too. The people love you.
Well, Cosentino, you're the only Australian to win a Merlin Award. I assume that's not something you just, fill out the paperwork online and hit the submit button and go in the running. How did that come about?
Well, the only magician for our most original act. So basically, there's a committee that votes on this, and I'm in the same company as Siegfried and Roy and Penn and Teller, David Copperfield, and you always hear artists saying, "Oh, I'm really humbled by the award," but honestly, to be in that category and to be up with them, it is very humbling, and I'll explain why. Because I look at the trophy, literally every day, and I think I've set a benchmark for myself, not for anyone else, but for myself, and I'm going to uphold that and continue to push it and go further. And that grounds you and says, okay, you know what, you've done well, but you've got to keep pushing. And it's a huge award internationally, so I'm very blessed.
Now, one question I must ask: how do you feel about those TV shows they have where it's here's the trick and here's how it's done? They reveal the magician's secrets.
Yeah. I mean, I love them because I learn tricks from them. No, I'm kidding. And it's not so much the illusions or the tricks that they expose, because they're very basic, and there's a number of methods to do one particular piece, and sometimes that in itself can be interesting. The audience might say, "Oh, I know how he does that," and then you can trick them. So that's kind of cool. But I think the biggest problem with those the shows that expose the magic is the fact that what they do is they belittle the craft, and they say, "Oh, it's very easy, you can do this, you can do that," and very often you can go home and try the effect, but they eliminate certain aspects of the equation because they're boring. Like, for example, anything that requires sleight of hand or dexterity is taken out, so you're not even getting the full illusion. And then I think also on top, it's very sexist, the way that they treat the women and the way that they talk about them. That's not my craft at all, and that's yeah, so I don't like that at all.
No. So you don't cut women in half?
I do, but it's the way that they approach it.
Yeah, but you don't do it in a sexist manner. You do it with a blunt saw.
That's right.
Well, I'm just going to mention, Cosentino, that you've got a grand tour, the Magic, the Mystery, the Madness, of a tour which extends right throughout Australia and begins in Wollongong, but in Melbourne you'll see Cosentino at the Palace Theatre, or the Palais, I beg your pardon, the Palais Theatre, Friday, November the 22nd and Saturday, November the 23rd. So look for those opening dates, book early, and go along and see this great craftsman.
Yes. And also my TV show coming out too, the next special.
Yes, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. So that's been a year in the making for me to put together. So that's pretty I think it's next week. This Wednesday. My gosh, 7:30.
Slap bang in the middle of Nightline, the show I'm doing. That's magic, baby. Cosentino, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Good night.